Once upon a time there was a curious young scientist named Zoe. She loved learning about science and doing experiments. One day, Zoe decided she wanted to test something she had read about in her science book. The book said that when you mix baking soda and vinegar, it makes a chemical reaction that produces carbon dioxide gas. Zoe thought watching the reaction happen might be fun to see. She gathered the baking soda, vinegar, and a balloon. Zoe put a spoonful of baking soda into the balloon. Then she carefully poured some vinegar into the balloon too. Suddenly Zoe saw the balloon starting to inflate. The vinegar and baking soda were reacting to make bubbles of carbon dioxide, which quickly filled the balloon. "Wow, it's working," Zoe said as she watched the balloon get bigger and bigger. But soon it got so big that the balloon suddenly popped. Zoe jumped in surprise. Popping balloons can be loud. "That was cool, but it made such a mess," Zoe observed. Bits of popped balloon were all over her room. And the baking soda and vinegar spilled too. Zoe learned an important lesson that day. Chemical reactions can be really neat to watch. But you have to be careful and think about what could happen when you do an experiment. Zoe realized she should have put the balloon over a bowl or done it outside. That way the mess would have been contained. For her next experiment, Zoe decided to be more careful. She had learned about static electricity in science class. When you rub certain materials together, like wool and plastic, the friction between them causes an electric charge to build up. Zoe wondered if she could generate static electricity herself. In the backyard, Zoe rubbed a wool cloth quickly over a plastic ruler. She could feel the static building up, making the hair on her arms stand up. When she brought the charged ruler close to small pieces of paper, the paper jumped up and stuck to the ruler. The static charge was attracting the paper. Zoe was amazed that she created static electricity with simple household items. She ran inside excitedly to show her mom. But on her way to find her mom, Zoe accidentally touched the metal sliding door handle after rubbing her feet on the carpet. Zap! She got a shock from the static electricity. "Ouch!" Zoe cried out. She realized she had built up too much static charge from making the electricity. Zoe's mom came running over. "What happened? Are you okay?" her mom asked. Zoe explained she was doing an electricity experiment and got zapped by the static charge. Some science experiments are fascinating but also dangerous if you aren't careful," Mom said. "Let's review the safety rules again." Zoe nodded. She was still excited to do more science, but realized it was important to always think about safety first. Some materials and experiments could hurt you if you weren't cautious. Zoe came up with a plan to only do safe science indoors from now on. And her mom would supervise to be sure everything went smoothly. The next weekend, Zoe did a cool magnetism experiment with her mom. She put a strong magnet under a piece of paper. Then Zoe sprinkled iron filings from a science kit gently over the paper. The filings lined up in a pattern along the magnetic field of the magnet under the paper. It made a beautiful pattern that Zoe proudly hung up on her fridge. Zoe's science adventures continued with blowing up a balloon using yeast, comparing the density of different liquids, and building a model roller coaster from cardboard tubes. Each new experiment was exciting to try. And Zoe was carefully recording all of her observations in a science journal, just like a real scientist. One evening, Zoe was eating dinner while reading a new library book about science experiments. "Mom, Dad, listen to this," Zoe said. "We can make a lemon battery that produces electricity." Her parents chuckled affectionately at their daughter's enthusiasm. The next day, with her parents' supervision, Zoe gathered materials from around the house. She connected a lemon, some pennies and zinc nails with wire. Amazingly, this simple circuit made enough electricity to light up a small LED light bulb. The acid in the lemon produced the electric current. "Our fruit can make electricity," Zoe exclaimed. "I bet we could power all kinds of things with lemons." Her mind raced with ideas. What if she connected 100 lemon batteries together? Or made a house powered by fruit? The possibilities were endless. From then on, Zoe dreamed up more elaborate science experiments to try. She wanted to build a volcano that erupted bubbles and foam, and a rocket that could fly to the sky and then gently float back down with a parachute. Zoe's interest in science grew with each new discovery. Zoe decided she would be a scientist when she grew up. She wanted to invent new technologies to help people and change the world. Zoe knew it would take a lot of studying and hard work. But if she pursued her passion, she could achieve her dreams. Zoe's parents encouraged her love of science. They signed her up for summer science camps and helped her turn the garage into a laboratory. Each birthday and holiday, Zoe received new science kits, textbooks, and equipment to fuel her curiosity. With a glowing imagination and sharp mind, Zoe made new discoveries every day. She learned that mistakes and failures were part of doing real science too. Each setback only made her more determined to keep experimenting. There was so much to invent, explore, and learn about the amazing world of science. Zoe's story shows that life can be amazing when you have a passion to guide your journey. Nurturing your interests and talents can help you make your dreams come true. So keep learning, stay curious, and always reach for the stars. The future is yours to discover.